Time for the Thursday edition of First Pitch. I am your host, Mid-Major Matt Josephs. Joining me today is Dave Koch and Marco D'Angelo of WagerTalk.com, Hunter Engelhardt of Sports Memo. Fellas, how is everybody doing? We'll start out with you, Marco. How was your day yesterday?
Well, I had a 1-1 day yesterday, lost the basketball play, real bad selection for me. We had the Denver Nuggets, and then we come back at night with baseball, and we won as impressively as we lost in the afternoon. Easy winner with Houston. It's been a nice run for me. I'm on a 10-2 run with all plays the last 12, and longer streaks than that in both baseball and basketball. So knock on wood, keep this thing running. Things are going good right now.
Dave, we'll head over to you, and while you talk, we've got the clever banner because it's a special day for you, Dave.
Yeah, this is a pretty good deal. It's explained right on the banner, so I don't need to repeat it. But, take advantage of it if you want to get my plays for a day, a week, a month, or an entire year and save 50%. Had a rain out of my best bet, which was the Braves against the Nationals, so I assume I would have won that, right? No, I like the play. Unfortunately, it didn't go. Lost the first 5 play on the Tigers White Sox under 1-0 going to the 5th inning. 5 runs in the 5th, so that happens. But overall, the interesting thing was yesterday. I wish I'd have played more games because a lot of the opinions we had on the show came through, and hopefully that'll be the case again today. I've got a pretty good sized card today. 3 baseball plays. One of those is a free selection. So if you go to wagertalk.com right now, you can get that selection free, or you can look at the Koken's Corner video where I talk about that and also about some other stuff. And I've got a hockey game, a best bet, and then one other first 5 selection I put up about a half an hour ago.
Yeah, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. I had a free play yesterday that hit, my first free play that I'd done via video style, so you'll get plenty of information if you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Hunter, how was your day yesterday?
I haven't played in I haven't released plays probably three or 4 days. I had a bad losing streak, which sometimes happens. I've come to understand here, but I took some days off, and I have a pregnant wife who could burst any second right now. Literally could be during this video. So if I have to leave, that's why. But I took some time off, and I actually have 2 4% plays I'm about to release after this video today, and then I also have 2 plays that I'm releasing for all access clients only. So. We're back at it today after a little break. Hopefully we get back on track.
Yeah, Hunter, I hear you. I was on a little bit of a skid myself. Went 2-0 yesterday, so that felt good. And always good to take a day off potentially when you're on a losing streak. All right, before we get to our big games, we do have a game coming up in about 5 minutes or so. 1 or 2 sentences each, because there could be somebody who wants to bet on the Tigers White Sox. We'll start with you, Dave.
Turnbull's been really good. First time through the lineup, Giolito hasn't. So if you want to take a shot early with the Tigers at a big price, maybe not the worst gamble of all time.
Marco, any interest in this one?
I've got no interest in this one. The Tigers and White Sox, I'll pass. There's better stuff on the card.
Hunter?
I would love to bet on Giolito, but until he pulls back-to-back starts where he's worth something, I'm staying away.
Yeah, it feels like every time you want to rely on Giolito, he puts up a stinker, and that's not going to help you out in this one, even against the Tigers. All right, big 3 games. We'll start out with the Brewers and the Twins. One pitcher in really good form, and Woodruff, one pitcher we don't know what we're going to get from Berrios. We'll go back to you, Hunter. Start us out on Brewers and Twins.
Well, if there's a time to take the Twins, I think this is it. I mean, Berrios had 2 bad starts, coming off 2 bad starts against the Royals. His home ERA is half of his ERA on the road, I believe, and right-handers are hitting 400 off him right now, with left-handers only at 156. Woodruff, on the other hand, he's only given up 3 home runs, a lot of pitches, 4 innings. He's only lasted 4 innings in his past 2 starts. He threw 86 pitches in 4 innings, and then another 91 pitches in 4 innings. And Woodruff is the type of guy who's batting average against 197, nobody on, 235, runners on base, 273 with runners in scoring position. I think this Twins team can hit the long ball against Woodruff today if he leaves his fastball up.
Marco, I'm not saying it's the end-all, be-all, but do you at all consider the fact that only 15 total at-bats for Minnesota hitters against Woodruff in his career?
Yeah, that's always an advantage for the pitcher, coming there first time around the league with the guys and the limited exposure there. You're going to look at that. But, I look at this one, and one thing I'll say about Woodruff, when he goes to the mound for Milwaukee, they just seem to win when he's on the mound. 21-7 in his last 28 starts when he's on the mound. Now, with that said, the last couple starts, not as good. And then I look at Minnesota, and there's a lot of things to like about Minnesota. One of the things that scares me, obviously, is the starting pitcher, because he has not been consistent this year. At times he can have good stuff, but he hasn't displayed that. And his biggest problem has been his control this year. He's had 10 walks in his last 3 starts. That's a concern for me. But I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to look for Minnesota to bounce back. This is a team that plays well against right-handers. They're 13-5 this season against righties, and that's not just a fluke this season. If you go back last 2 seasons, they're now 92-51 when they face right-handed starting pitching. I'm going to go ahead and look at Minnesota in this one. I like them here. And night games for Minnesota, how about 78-45 the last 2 seasons at night?
Dave, we talk a lot about on this show that you want to see something from somebody before trying to predict when it's going to happen. Is that the case with Berrios? Do you want to see him pitch well before you back him?
I'd like to see him be pitching better. It's been covered already that he is struggling with his control. But, he's also fitting the old Berrios profile that he's always been a much better pitcher at home than on the road. And that's happening again. The Woodruff concern, Woodruff's a talented guy, but the concern, and this is often a concern that I have with big strikeout guys, is the pitch counts. And he's getting up to 85, 90 pitches in the 4th and 5th inning. You want to get more than 4 or 5 out of your starter, right? And it looks to me like that's what he is right now. This price is really cheap. I mean, it's the Twins minus 110 at home is not something you're going to get very often.
Yeah. Especially against the Brewers hitting team, Dave. I mean, you're going to take the Twins lineup over the Braves over the Brewers anytime. And if you can get them at even, not even money, but pretty much a pick 'em game. I mean, I'm taking the Twins every time a pick 'em game against the Brewers, no matter who's on the mound.
Yeah, to some extent. I'm not comfortable with Berrios, to be honest with you. I mean, that's the uncomfortable part of this. But the other stuff all does point to the Twins here, and they're a very good home team. So it should be a good game, but I think the Twins win.
Marco, back to you for the last thing here. It opened at 8.5, went up to 9. We know in the past you've talked about Twins unders. Is that something you're looking at here?
Yeah, this year, home night games, they're 8-1 to the under. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And, yesterday they finally had a high-scoring game at home with that one, and it was all because of one team had, a big explosion. I got to look to the under as well.
By the way, just a quick mention. Oh shit! I forgot what I was going to say. Both bullpens are in good shape as far as this game goes. So if you're looking at the total, that's something to factor in as far as the full game is concerned. And these are two of the better bullpens around.
Game number 2, Rangers and Padres. Gibson on the mound for Texas. San Diego gets Dinelson Lamet. Back to you, Dave. What did you price this one? Because this is a really expensive price on San Diego.
Well, I priced it lower than the line, but let's see, looks like about 150. I've got 3 sets of numbers that I use, so I have to kind of add them together. The thing here is Gibson, boy, I mean, his first time through the lineup has been a little bit scary so far. 333 batting average, 934 OPS. That's something to be concerned about against the Padres. And Lamet on the flip side, first 2 times through the order. Opposing hitters, 6 for 61. That would appear to be an early inning advantage for the Padres. And, I mean, they've got to be feeling great about themselves. They're back in good form again. They're getting grand slams all over the place. This Texas team, I don't know. I know they're hanging around 500, but this is just not a scary team. They just don't look like much. I think they're going to end up with a losing record. I would favor the Padres here. I'm not going to lay that price, but I have no real interest in taking Texas.
Yeah, Marco, over a 162-game season, we might see the Padres rest a couple guys for a game like today. The sweep and everything. But, with a 60-game thing, we should see a lot of the starters. Do you think that's going to matter here against the Rangers?
Well, the Rangers, after they had that winning streak, would they roll off 7 out of 8? Now they've lost 4 in a row, and they've not been getting any pitching at all. In that 4-game losing streak, they've given up 36 runs. Now, Dave's heard me say this on the radio show a lot of times. When I look at pitchers, I treat them, I don't want to, degrade them, but I look at them like I handicap a lot of times in horse racing. You read the racing form and you're trying to predict when horses are going in and out of their form cycle. And you do the same with pitchers. And one of the indicators for me, obviously, I'm a big guy looking at the strikeouts. If a guy is a big strikeout guy, then you expect him to have put up the strikeouts. When he all of a sudden doesn't have a lot of strikeouts in a couple starts, to me, that's a red flag where this guy might be ready to go out of form. And Gibson, I've never been a big fan of his, but he's pitched well. But his last 2 starts, he's got a total of 4 strikeouts, 2 in each of the last 2 starts. To me, I think he's ready to go the other direction. The Padres, after their losing streak, now they've put a couple together. I think there's only one way to go, but you're paying a price for it. It's the Padres or pass, and I do like the Padres here.
Yeah, Hunter, how impressive has Lamet been? He's already seen the Diamondbacks 3 times this season, which is pretty crazy to think about, but he's been good, 1 earned run every start.
Yeah, I mean, like Dave said, what I have written down here is hitters are batting 48 first time through the order and 175 second time through the order. This Rangers lineup has never seen him yet, so that even carries even more weight, in my opinion. And the Rangers are hitting 159 against power pitchers, and we know Lamet chucks the hell out of that baseball, man. You're 98 to 100 almost every single pitch. So I think you got to back Lamet here. It's a little steep price for me, so I'm not going to bet aside. But what I would look at is the first half under. I don't see Texas scoring really any runs, so really you're going to hope that the Padres only put up 3, maybe 4 on Gibson here. I think the number's at 5, 4.5, 5-ish. I've seen it. And Gibson is just really bad. Right-handed hitters are in 302 off. I'm 897 OPS. Honestly, you just got to hope that Lamet keeps up what he's doing, and the Rangers maybe score 1 run in the first 5, and hope that the Padres can limit their tearing up first half of games, especially first time through that order. Tatis is amazing off the bat. I mean, he doesn't wait for anything. If he gets a pitch he can hit, he can swing, and this lineup's actually really fun to watch.
Let's just say
4.5 under, slightly juiced on the first 5.
Let's just say I agree with a lot of the majority of the chat room here in terms of Padres -0.5 in those first 5 innings as well. Quite the opposite of a pitching matchup in Oakland. You've got Alex Young against Sean Manaea, who's coming off a decent start last time out, but part of that is because it's the Giants. We'll start with you, Marco.
Yeah, well, hopefully that last start was the buy sign for him. Clearly one of his better starts of the season. He's been a train wreck to start the season. And you look at this Oakland A's team, they've been a streaky team all year. They get on a streak. They start to win. They went up to Arizona over the weekend, lose a couple games there, come back home, win the first game. Prior to losing those 2, they had won 4 in a row. I look for them to continue the winning streak here. I'm going to back Manaea and think that was a building block start for him. You look at the opposing pitcher, Alex Young, although he was good in his outing, he only went 4 1/3 in his debut against San Diego last time out. He did allow only 1 run in that game. So first time through the lineup, you got to figure he's going to be okay because this is going to be the first time Oakland's seen him. So for me, it's Oakland, and maybe look at a first 5 under in this one. I think that's where the value's at, but I just don't want any part of Arizona in this game for the full game. Oakland at home has been dynamite this year, and I'm going to continue to ride them. They're 10-3 at home, and they're 5-0 versus lefties, and they're averaging 6 runs a game versus the lefties. That's where I'm at in this one. And if you go back the last 3 seasons, Oakland at home, when they've been a favorite, 86-36. Those are pretty impressive numbers. I'm not going to step in front of them.
Dave, did you see anything from Alex Young in that last start against San Diego?
I think Alex he's one of those guys who you can plug in as a black back-end starter or a long reliever. I don't think there's anything there beyond that. Manaea is, he's coming back from surgery and hasn't gotten all the way back yet, to put it mildly. what Marco said is pretty much on target. And you also have to add in the fact that the A's probably have a little quick revenge on their mind. They didn't exactly have a great weekend down in Arizona. So I think situationally the A's are right here, but it's in the price. I made the price 145, and that's about where it is. So I'm not seeing any particular reason to bet this game. It's not like you're getting any value, and they're about a 3-2 favorite, which is what they ought to be.
Hunter, can you trust Manet in this situation?
Well, based on what I found, I'm going to trust Young more than Manaea here for simple reasons. I know the Oakland A's smash left-handed hitters. I think they're hitting 270 or 260 against left-handed hitters. But Young, the A's have a heavy right-handed lineup, and Young, his batting average against is only 206 against right-handed batters compared to 273 left. I think Oakland only has 2 or 3 guys that hit from the left side. If you're looking to take a dog here in this situation, I would take the D-backs here, but only first 5. And if I'm going to take total, I'm going to take the total over here. I like the over in the first half and the second half with like what a lot of these guys said. There's just as much argument for the A's to come out this one. I'm kind of on the side of the D-backs, but either way, if the D-backs are on the good side, then there should be runs. And if the Oakland A's are going to do exactly what these two guys said, they're going to score runs too. So I think a first half over or an over full game is a good look.
All right, before we get to our quick hit segment, let's tell everybody what they can find on Wager Talk and Sports Memo. Don't forget, I'll tell them, Dave, since maybe some can't read the graphic, to celebrate the exclusive deal he got with Wager Talk, 50% off anything Dave does, whether it's daily, a full year, Koken 50 at checkout, expires Sunday at midnight. So what can they find on your page today?
First of all, somebody asked about where you can find Koken's Corner. Well, you just go to my homepage at Wager Talk. Everything's on there. So you can just check out the video there. And what did you ask me?
What can we find? What's up there right now for people today?
I've got one featured best bet in baseball. I did play a hockey game tonight, which is also a best bet. And then for package players, there are 2 other baseball games, although one of those is the free play. So I've got 3 baseball plays in all and 1 hockey play. And I have not done my Friday morning KBO yet, so I don't know if I'll have anything there. Will
you have any NBA plays today for us?
I never do NBA. The NBA is, I have not, and I'm not knocking anybody who likes basketball, believe me. But I watch hockey rather than basketball because I just prefer it. And I don't even know. The only thing I know is what some of my friends who bet send me. And I'll tail some of their plays. And in fact, I bet 2 NBA games so far and won on both, but they're not my plays. So obviously I can't give them out. You can't take somebody else's information and then sell it as your own. That's a big no-no. But somebody touted me on the Celtics last night, and it's somebody whose opinion I respect greatly. And was it the Celtics? Yeah, I think it was.
It was probably the Celtics. Yes.
Yeah, they won by like 27, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that was a beautiful winner. But again, I don't handicap the NBA myself, and so therefore you will never see. Unless it's somebody retiring and playing their last home game, then I'm in. Okay. But outside of that, I don't post any NBA.
Marco, on your page?
Right now, I've got a basketball play up. It's an afternoon game. I will be adding 1 or 2 baseball plays as soon as we get done with the show. So you can check that out. And I do have a special going right now, too. Not as good as Dave's. Close. I've got a 30-day package. Normally $349. We're offering it for $225 right now if you use coupon code MARCO225. Just put that in at checkout, coupon code MARCO225, and you can pick up 30 days, all access, all of my plays. And the beauty of this 30-day package, sounds weird, but first Saturday in September is the Run for the Roses, the Kentucky Derby. So you'll also get my plays for that. And we've had some good success with the Kentucky Derby over the years. A couple years ago, we turned a $349 wager into a $9,000 return for the client. So that will be included in that 30-day subscription. So check it out at Wager Talk.
The last Derby winner I had, and fortunately, it was such a monster price that I can probably lose every Derby for the rest of my life and still be ahead, was Giacomo.
Oh, yeah.
Monster monster. And I did. It was just a shot in the dark. It wasn't like I handicapped it, but it won. And I don't think I've won a derby since then.
Well, you got quite a few. I remember.
Oh, yeah,
What did he pay? $70 that day?
Oh, it's
or more than that.
He was more than that. I think he was close to 50 to 1. I think.
Cool. Yep.
And then over on sportsmemo.com, without promo codes, it's Hunter and I. Hunter, what can we find on your page?
Like I said earlier at the start of the show, I got 2 4% plays up right now. I'm about to release it as a 2-pack here when we get out of the show, and then I also have 2 plays that are going to be for all access only. So those should be up once we get done here.
That's a 2-pack. That's a 2-pack TWO PACK as opposed to TUPAC.
That is correct there, Dave. Thank you for the clarification.
Well, just shows you I know my pop culture, buddy.
I also have a 4%er up and another one for my all access people as well. So you can find us at sportsmemo.com. All right, time for our quick hits. Before we get to that, Phillies up 2-0 over the Blue Jays, top of the 4th, and the Yankees up 2-0 over the Rays in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, I should have played the Yankees. They were there on my numbers. Then I looked at the lineup, and it's like, Jesus, they got everybody out. And I backed off it, and you can put that one in the win column.
Since I know everybody doesn't do much with double headers, just one sentence. We'll start with you, Dave. Any interest? Phillies, Jays, the total in this one, it's like they're playing in Coors Field. It's still only 7 innings. It's 8.5.
No interest.
Marco?
Same here, passing the doubleheader.
Hunter?
Yeah, I'm passing too. I do like Thornton, but as a Phillies fan, Velasquez, I just want to just grab him by the throat. Let's move on.
Yeah, these totals are pretty ridiculous in Buffalo. And remember, it's just a one-game thing or one-day thing, and both teams will move on. Astros and the Rockies. Javier against Marquez. Dave, I heard the noise, so we'll start with you. What do you think?
I mean, the Astros are rolling, man. They have suddenly put it together, and I'm not going to try and step in their way. I like Marquez a lot. Marquez in his last start showed he did not have his good stuff at all. He couldn't command his fastball. And he still managed to get out of there with 3 runs, only 2 of which were earned in 6 innings, which shows you the quality that this guy possesses. But Javier's been, outside of one start, has been really good for the Astros, and the team form is clearly Houston here. So to me, I'm not getting in the way of a freight train. And the Astros are a little bit of a freight train right now, even with some injury issues. I would lean Astros here.
Yeah, no Bregman today. He went on the injured list. Javier has given up 4 home runs in 21 2/3 innings. Marco, what do you think about this one?
Well, Dave hit it. Not stepping in front of Houston. This is a team, everybody was ready to put dirt on the grave with them with their start, and here they come rolling back. They make it 7 in a row, and the pitching's been phenomenal for the Astros. 6 of those 7 games, they allowed 2 runs or less. Now, Dave mentioned Marquez, and I'm going to point out real quick, this is one of those ones where the pitcher may be heading out of form. First 3 games, strikeouts, 6, 8, and 9. His last 2, just 4 and 3. He's declining on the strikeouts. He could be ready to head out of form, and if that's the case, the way Houston's playing right now could be a long day for the Rockies. I'll take Houston.
Plus, Marquez has a rough history against the Astros last year. Hunter, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with both these guys. I mean, the Astros are on an absolute roll, and that's a train where if you get guys who have talent and they're hot, you really don't want to step in their way. And then you got Marquez, if we're looking at batter versus pitchers, Altuve, Gurriel, and Springer are all hitting over 500 against him. I know they only have like 6 to 7 at-bats each, but I mean, you add confidence into a team who's already confident against a pitcher, especially at a ballpark like Colorado with this Astros team. I can't bet against them.
Over 250 people in the chat room right now. We appreciate it. Make sure to hit the like button, smash the bell. You'll never miss a show. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And then, of course, on the weekends, we have a noon show Saturday and Sunday. So, yes, we are 7 days a week, and we've been getting great attendance for the weekend games. Yeah. Moving on, Mets and Marlins. Daniel Castano's second looks for the Mets against Seth Lugo, a.k.a. Bullpen Day. We'll start with you, Marco.
Yeah, you look at this one in Miami, just like Colorado, Miami and Colorado were the 2 surprise teams to start the season. Well, you know what? The cream rises to the top, and we've seen what's happened here. They've lost 5 in a row, 8 of their last 10. More importantly, they're not hitting the baseball right now at all. 4 of their last 5 games, 3 runs or less. I cannot play Miami at all. For me, it's Mets first 5, and that's the way I'm looking at this game because I still don't want to be involved in the Mets bullpen.
Yeah, second looks for the Mets of Castano, Dave. How much do you look into that?
I think it's somewhat significant because he doesn't look like a guy with great stuff, and I think a second look is the Mets might be able to exploit him to some extent. The price is awfully high, and I can't justify laying that much, but I do think the Mets are the right side here.
Yeah, what do you think about that first 5 under, Hunter, with Marlins lineup that's not hitting? And I mean, they're going to see a bunch of pitchers potentially over those 5.
Yeah, I do. I like the full game under and the first 5 under. I mean, I know that both of these lineups, the Mets either go absolute off or they look like the Marlins, depending on what it is. But if I'm gonna stay away from the side. If I had to, I'd be on the Mets like these guys. And I do like the over more than I do the Mets. I mean, the under more than I do the Mets if I had to pick.
Should be noted, I believe it was Monday, the Marlins sent down their cleanup hitter from Sunday to their alternate minor league site, so there's some roster churning going on there. I see the bobblehead in the background for Dave because his Red Sox won a game yesterday. They are in Baltimore against the Orioles. Eovaldi and Wojciechowski, 2 guys I'm sure would get you plenty of Scrabble points in this one. We'll start with you, Dave.
I played this game. I have a bet on this game, and that is the free play today. So if you go to wagertalk.com and click on my homepage, or you can just go wt.buzz/DC and then watch the video, or just read the write-up, and you'll see what I bet on this game.
Marco, Wojciechowski's not putting up terrible numbers, but I don't feel like I can trust the guy.
No, you look at this and you look at Baltimore. They've lost 4 in a row, and their pitching has been getting lit up. They've allowed 26 runs in those 4 losses. Boston, don't want any part of them. 4-15 against the division opponents this season. They've been a train wreck. Speaking of train wrecks, Eovaldi on the road has just been pure trash. I mean, he's getting lit up on a nightly basis. For me, I lean Baltimore, but I think the safer play in this game, you're paying a price for it, but over's the only way you can look at this one. I see a lot of runs here. The bullpens for both teams are tired because they got to keep sending guys out there night after night to clean up the messes, and they just make bigger messes.
What about you, Hunter, in this one?
Well, it's hard to bet on a favorite in the situation who's openly tanking. I mean, it is terrible how bad this Red Sox team are. So, I mean, if I was to bet a game or to bet a side, I would take the Orioles here at plus money, but they've been cold, like Marco said and Dave said. So you can't really bet on a team in baseball who's on a little bit of a cold streak. So I'm just completely staying away.
Yeah, one thing that we're starting to see, I think, Marco, you said the cream rising to the top. We're also starting to see the sludge sink to the bottom because the teams, some of these surprise teams, like the Tigers and the Orioles and the Marlins and the Rockies, who really aren't very good, are starting to go down, down, down. They're bad for a reason.
And maybe yesterday was Rafael Devers' opportunity to start hitting some more. He was good in that second game against the Phillies. Indians and Pirates, Bieber's on the mound. The stat of the day, 54 strikeouts, ties him with Nolan Ryan and Pedro Martinez for 3rd most through the first 5 starts of the season against Trevor Williams. Hunter, we'll start with you.
Yeah, Bieber's a guy I love to watch like I like to watch Paddock. I mean, I love watching these 2 young guys get after it and just attack hitters. I stayed away from it. I wish that under for the first 5 would go up to like 4.5. If it stays at 4 right now, that's really the only side I'm interested in. This Cleveland Indians team is not good with runners in scoring position. I think it's way too expensive to bet on the Indians here because you really don't know what's going to happen when Bieber gets out of the game. And this Pirates team is not good, but sometimes they have surprise innings where they score 3 or 4 runs out of nowhere. So I'm staying away. If the total first half goes up to 4.5, I'll look at the under, but until then I'm out.
If they score 3 or 4 runs in an inning against Bieber, I'll give you quite a bit amount of money. I don't have a lot of money, but that's
late innings.
There you go. I was going to say, Marco, what do you think about this one?
Well, I can tell you one thing. Cleveland should send the schedule maker a thank you card because the best thing to get a winning streak going is have back-to-back series against the Detroit Tigers and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then after this, they get to go home and face the Tigers again. So this is going to set them up for a nice showdown with Minnesota the following series after that. They can make some ground up here playing these 2 horrible teams. Sorry, Johnny Detroit, but Detroit is just as bad as my Pirates. Not quite as bad. Pirates might be the worst team in baseball. The one thing that they have going for them is sometimes when Trevor Williams gets up on the mound, he's going to defy the odds and throw a good game. So, yes, I would agree that if you could find a 4.5, which you're not going to find for the first 5, that would be the play with this one with Bieber and Williams. But I'm going to give you a little stat on Pittsburgh. As bad as they are, when they've been in a situation where they've lost the first 2 at home and trying to avoid they're in a revenge situation for 2 straight home losses, they don't get it. They're 3-17 in that situation over the last 2 seasons. It's Cleveland, but the line, you're paying a price. I'm sure the books are going to have a ton of Cleveland money line parlays tonight, tied up with everything on the board. They'll be rooting for Pittsburgh to win or to only lose by 1 in this game for the people that are taking the run lines.
Dave, let's focus in on Williams for a second because he's throwing a curveball now. His off-speed stuff is a decent compliment. Do you think he's not going to be Bieber, but do you think he holds his own at least today?
It's tough to say. The Indians lineup is showing some signs of life, at least at the top of the order, the first 5 guys. Look, Bieber's going to shut this team down. It'd be a shock if Pittsburgh does much against him. And I just can't count on Williams. And the good news for the Pirates is they're really looking good to get Kumar Rocker with the first overall pick.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've watched a lot of the Pirates games lately.
That kid's a great prospect.
Watching the last couple of Pirates games, I mean, Josh Bell's uppercutting everything. Polanco's not making any sort of contact. Maybe you look at the Bieber over strikeouts prop. I don't know if we can find it by the end of the show, but maybe Bieber goes over on some sort of strikeouts prop. Could be a lot of strikeouts in this one. Dodgers and Mariners. Kershaw, who looked amazing against the Angels last time out. Kikuchi scratched last start due to neck spasms, but we've talked about increased velocity is there. Back to you, Dave.
Yeah, in Seattle, I thought Seattle was live last night and foolishly passed on the big odds. I wouldn't take him today. Kershaw, look at these numbers. Now, it might be – this is something to keep an eye on. I think Kershaw is becoming a pitcher who might be getting into that level where he's like a really dynamite pitcher for 5 innings. And then after that, maybe it's the back tightening up or just age creeping in, but his numbers so far. First time through the order, 2 hits total against them. The opposition's hitting 080. I know it's only 3 starts, but now is when we throw away last year's stats and we start looking at this year's stats. So he's coming out of the gate really, really strong. And you would expect the Dodgers to be a little bit pissed off about yesterday. So, I mean, the Dodgers, if you're looking – I guess if you're looking money line parlay tonight with 2 big chalk pieces, probably Indians and Dodgers.
Marco, in the past, we've looked to fade the Dodgers, though, in the past against good left-handers, but can we trust Kikuchi tonight?
Yeah, I'm not going to step in front of the Dodgers off of the loss there. And Dave, I heard the sports books already pre-printed tickets, Dodgers in Cleveland, so you can just walk up to the window and grab the ticket. They don't have to punch it out. Because that's what's going to happen. Everybody and their brother is going to have that parlay. I was going to look at the under in this one, first 5. And you talked about Kershaw, Dave. His last game, his velocity was the highest he's had in the last 2 seasons, touching 94 miles an hour. And I think probably you got to attribute that to he just hasn't pitched that much. I mean, his arm's not fatigued and everything that we've seen sometimes towards the end of the season. He's fresh. We're way through the season as far as number of games going, for the percentage of the season. But yet this would only be like, May for guys, for a normal season.
But I also think that they may – I mean, I'm not there, so I obviously don't know this, but I'm speculating that they've – let Kershaw know that he's, don't worry about being economical because you're not going to be going 7 or 8 innings anymore. I think that may be tying into his increased velocity is that he knows he's only going through the lineup 2, maybe 3 times. So you may as well let it all go. And because that's what a lot of teams are doing now, especially with older pitchers.
Yeah, in the way the bullpen's pitching, Dave, it's not like, the Dodgers a lot of times, you had to rely on winning games 3-2. The pitcher had to go out there and have no margin of error. They are scoring some runs, but the bigger thing is last year when the bullpen wasn't, solid, you had some of those breakdowns later in the late innings. You're not seeing that this year out of the Dodger bullpen. They've been nails all season. So, that gives you a little more that, you don't have to worry about, trying to stretch them out for the, to get the 7 innings. Interesting stat that's keeping me from going ahead and firing on that under that I said. Kershaw, when he comes off a game where he allowed 1 run or less, it's a fluky number because you wouldn't expect this. But we got last 3 seasons, it's happened 22 times. His next game, the Dodgers have gone over 17 of the 22 starts. It's one of those that don't make sense, but it's a decent sample size.
Well,
Hunter,
I got something to say about the whole Kershaw velocity thing. As we saw, we don't count this year. If we look at the last 2 years, he's been drastically dropping his velocity. And him being one of the best pitchers in the league, he's been at the top. He knows what it takes. He was just making mistake pitches in that 2 to 3 miles an hour against on the left side when a majority of the hitters are on the right side. They're just waiting to pick out that fastball, and as soon as he comes that fastball, I mean, what the miles per hour he was throwing last year, it's not that hard to hit, 92, 93, especially with these guys. But I don't know if you guys know this or not, but he in the offseason during the COVID thing, he adopted the drive line program in the Northwest. So this is the first time he actually started doing that arm strengthening program and the weighted balls and all that stuff. Trevor Bauer's a big guy on it. There's a couple other guys that swear by the drive line program. So he focused on that on the offseason. And a lot of people say that his velocity came back up because he did that drive line program this year.
Yeah, I agree. Outside of Marco's stat, I feel like the first 5 under might be the way to look there. But then again, Kikuchi, he's been good. The velocity's there, but there's also some numbers and plus he's coming off the neck spasms and everything. So we'll see about that one. Reds and Cardinals, Gray against Wainwright in this one. Hunter, you could start us out.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals are going to be tired today. I mean, we're starting to see them. They have good games where they score some runs. I really don't think the Cubs team is that good. I think they had multiple opportunities to win 3 out of those 4 games, even possibly sweep. I'm going to look at the under in this game. I think Sonny Gray's pitching as good as he can be. I mean, he's striking out guys left and right. His stuff is sharp. I'm going to look at the under. Wainwright's been pitching pretty well here. Obviously, we don't have a huge sample size him, but with Cardinals coming off a doubleheader yesterday on top of the Reds coming off a series against the Royals, I like the under in this game, first 5 and full game, but you're going to have to pay for the first 5 under. I think it's at like minus 120, minus 115 some places, but it's either going to be first half under or full game under for me.
Marco,
go ahead.
No, go for it, Dave.
Well, I was going to say on the total, 4.5 minus 120 or 4 with the overjuiced, where you can get actually plus money. I would consider that. Gray has been really good early in games. He's a guy, once he gets past the first 2 times through the order, I don't trust him as much. The Reds are not hitting righties at all on the road. Wainwright has actually been really good. And it's a very small sample, but 5 for 37 first time through the order. So they're not doing much against him. I don't know why I didn't play this, to be honest with you. I don't know why I didn't play the first 5 under. I didn't, but I'm actually going to consider it. I'm going to go back and look at this game some more. I've still got some time, and I'll wait on the lineups as well because I will be curious to see who the Cardinals send out there today. But I might get involved with this one later on in the first 5 under.
Yeah, no information yet on the umpire in this one. Marco, the Reds were a bit of a bugaboo for Wainwright last year, 6.75 ERA and 3 starts against them. He also only threw 67 pitches his last start. What do you think about Wainwright entering this one?
Yeah, Wainwright's been fabulous in his 2 starts. The problem is the 2 starts, the first one came on July 25th. The second one came on August 15th. So now let's see what he does without all of that extended rest that he had. My concern, if you're going to look at anything in this game as far as an under or St. Louis, you got to look at it, for me, it's got to be first 5 innings that you're going to deal with. Because what we're starting to see with St. Louis, and this is going to be something you're going to have to watch moving forward, because they've missed so many games. Now they're playing all of these doubleheaders and everything else. They're using a ton of pitchers. Since they've come back from the COVID issue, they've had 21 different pitchers they've had to use. And they still don't have a full depth chart because they've got guys that are on the injured list out of the bullpen. That's a concern for me as you get into the late innings with them, and something to watch possibly with this team when you're doing live betting. If the game's tied and you're getting a decent price in game, I'd be looking to fade this team in spots because I think the bullpen's going to be a liability moving forward. Now, as far as Gray, you talked about Wainwright. As bad as he was against the Reds last year, look how good Sonny Gray was against St. Louis. 3 starts, he allowed just 2 runs over 3 starts against them. For me, I'm all about Cincinnati in this game, and I would agree you should get a decent start out of Wainwright, which would lead me towards the under first 5 if you wanted to make 2 wagers. But I like the Reds in this game.
Final one that we'll go to is the Angels and Giants, Suarez and Gausman. I'll go back to you, Marco. Kevin Gausman threw the most pitches this season, last time out at 106. Is that something you would all look at when someone gets over that 100 pitch mark to start before?
Absolutely. You're going to look into, they're not going to have the same stuff in the next game. And that's going to lend me to where I'm going in this game. To me, there's only one way to play this game. And I'm not a big fan of Gausman. I know he's had his moments, but I just don't think he has great stuff. San Francisco in interleague games this year, they've had 11 of them. 10 of the 11 have gone over the total. And when you have a team that's constantly going over and giving up runs the way they have done, that bullpen never gets a chance, to catch up and have a break. So until that trend stops where you get a few good pitching outings where you can get some breaks for the bullpen, I got to keep riding that train. It ain't broke. Don't fix it. Go old school. This is all about the over for me.
Dave?
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised what happened with the betting line in this game. Why were the Angels favored in the first place? I guess it was, they had a different starter penciled in, but
I had Heaney originally.
Yeah, but I don't know how he got penciled in because it had already been, Madden had said, I think the day before that Heaney was going to get an extra day break.
They pushed him back a day to put Suarez in the lineup, but they're taking Tehran out. That's why they did the switch. So they were able to give Haney an extra day by doing the switch.
Right, because he threw over 100 pitches last time out. And so here's Suarez, who he got a look last year. And I mean, I got to tell you, and look, it's just my opinion, but I don't think this guy's a big league pitcher. His numbers weren't good, but I don't think he's going to get measurably better. His stuff just isn't. He looks like a quad A guy to me, or a triple A guy if you want. Gausman's interesting. I mean, he's teased us in the past and then reverted to being Kevin Gausman and gets blown up. But he's looked pretty good so far this season. And one thing to note is the Giants have actually done some good stuff offensively against lefties, and they're facing what I would consider a mediocre lefty here. The sharp money is showing on the Giants here. And what appears to be the sharpest money is first 5 on the Giants, which is all the way up to 130, 135 now. And I don't disagree with that. The Angels aren't any good. I mean, you look at this lineup and you say, well, they ought to be, because they got some really talented offensive guys, but they're just not. And they're sitting there at the Angels they're 8-17. They're terrible. The Giants are better than the Angels right now. I don't want the Giants bullpen, but I don't disagree at all with that first 5 money on the Giants. I think that's a winner.
Yeah, by the way, and we'll get to our DFS stuff in a second, but Shohei Ohtani is very cheap right now if you ever want to think that he's going to break out of his slump. Hunter, close us out.
Yeah, I agree with both those guys. As you know, Matt, we're both Phillies fans. I got a vendetta against Kapler, so I will never, ever bet on Kapler, whatever team, and that's just a personal thing. But I do agree that these Giants are crushing left-handed pitchers, and like they said, Suarez, I mean, he doesn't belong where he is right now. So
I don't think so.
I'm all in on Marco with the over. It's the over or no play here.
All right, we'll do our final thing, DFS stud and sleepers of the night, and we'll start with you, Dave. I don't want to steal yours, so let's let you go first.
Well, I think this is one where you just go for the big money, go for the expensive guy, because you figure to get a lot of good stats out of Shane Bieber. He's up against a bad lineup, and the guy's pitching about as well as anybody. So I would just go, all right, well, we're going to go for the big salary as far as the pitcher goes. And as far as offense goes, yeah, I might look for a couple of those Oakland right-handed hitters against Arizona. This team can hit lefties, and we'll see if they can do something. One thing, by the way, real quick daily fantasy note, is you want to avoid offenses that are facing pitchers that are pitching in twilight. And so Texas, San Diego, you're going to probably get a couple innings where the pitchers are going to have a pretty big advantage. The game starts at 5 o'clock out here. And you might see the same thing in the Dodgers-Mariners game. I really took a look at the first 5 under in that game. I didn't play it ultimately, but that game starts at 4:10 Seattle time, and I don't know what the roof situation is. But if that roof is open, and you've got the shadows in the field, that's a big edge for the pitchers. So factor that into your fantasy stuff as well.
Marco, I know every once in a while we get a recommendation from you. What do you think?
Well, given the fact that I think you're going to see runs in that San Francisco game and the way they hit left-handers, maybe find a couple cheap guys out of that San Francisco
that makes
lineup.
sense. I like that. I should have thought of that myself.
Hunter?
I think Lamet is the best pitcher right now that you could possibly buy, and yet he is the 1, 2, 3, 4th or 5th, depending on what site you go on, cheapest at 9,400. I'm looking at right now, like Dave said, I mean, today's kind of a day where, you got to buy your pitchers who are in awesome spots. And I think Lamet here is in the best matchup today based on stats and what he does in this Texas Rangers team. So, and you add that too with the shadow, like Dave said, I mean, I see a lot of strikeouts for Lamet. Lamet's the guy I'm going to pay for and build my team around. As far as a sleeper, I agree with the Giants. I really haven't looked at it, and I really don't have a sleeper today for you, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I agree on Lamet. I went Rafael Devers on FanDuel. He's 2,800. I also like Eric Hosmer. He's got good numbers against Gibson, and if those shadows disappear, maybe he can get a hold of one. All right, guys, with Sports Memo and WagerTalk.com, don't forget, use the promo code KOKEN50, 50% off one purchase of anything Dave does, whether it's daily, all access for 30 days, full year, whatever it is. Koken50 expires Sunday at midnight. Fellas, it's always a good time. We will be back tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern time here on the Wager Talk and YouTube channel.